Good evening, everyone. Today is Wednesday, February 26, 2025. This is the meeting of the Gloucester School Committee. We are meeting at the Gloucester High School. The public is welcome to attend our meetings in person or alternatively through the Zoom link provided on the agenda. The meeting notice will reflect the meetings via Zoom only. This meeting is being recorded. As the recent amendments to the open meeting law allow, the school committee. Hold on. Sorry. May continue hold meetings remotely. Please note that in-person meetings will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the remote session.
Someone's not on mute. That's me anymore.
Anyway, unless it's together.
Is it me?
Set. Yeah, it was you.
I don't know what happened to this. It was all set up. It's never happened before.
You know, Zoom has changed the settings, so you automatic go into audio, just.
Yeah.
It's all set, no problem.
Sorry about that.
Okay, so I'll call this meeting to order and state that the mission of Gloucester Public Schools is for all students to be successful, engaged, lifelong learners, and ask that you join me in the salute. We will do introductions as to who is around the table, but let's start with Laura Wiesen, who is joining us remotely tonight.
Laura Wiesen, school committee member.
Stephanie DeLisi, recording secretary.
Quick, Bergen, here, school committee.
Keith Minio, school committee.
Bill Melvin, school committee.
Kathy Clancy, school committee. School committee.
Jeremy King, school committee. Pat Lummis, superintendent.
Amy Pasquarello, assistant superintendent.
Gary Frisch, CFO.
The first item of business is oral communications. If anybody would like to speak, now is your opportunity. We'll read the guidelines. Public shall have the opportunity at every regular school committee meeting to be heard in oral communications. Oral communications shall allow any resident who has a request or complaint of any nature relative to the school committee business to appear before the school committee, state their problem without debate, and the matter may be referred to the proper subcommittee. For items that are on the agenda, members of the public may address the committee with the permission of the chair. Persons speaking under oral communications shall be limited to 3 minutes each and shall submit a copy of their prepared communication to the recording secretary. So if anybody is online, raise your hand, and we do have people in attendance. I don't know if anybody's looking to speak this evening.
You have one hand raised, mutual access, go ahead.
Rachel, let's start online. Rachel Rex has her hand up.
Good evening, folks. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Good evening. Tonight, I stand before you not just as a union leader, but as the voice of the educators who are leaving this district in alarming numbers. They're not leaving because they don't love their students or their profession. They're leaving because they do not feel respected, valued, supported, or safe in their classroom, schools, and this district as a whole. This exodus follows a recent strike, a clear indication of the profound dissatisfaction and distress. When our educators speak up about untenable conditions, lack of resources, and the emotional and physical toll of their work, they are too often met with dismissal instead of action. When their expertise is ignored and their calls for support go unanswered, they make the heartbreaking choice to walk away, not just from the District of Gloucester, but sometimes from the profession entirely. The recent strike was a manifestation of these deep-seated issues. Post-strike, instead of witnessing improvements, we've observed a continued departure of our educators. High turnover rates destabilize our schools, disrupt student learning, and erode the trust within our community. This trend is alarming and underscores the urgent need for this systemic change. We need a commitment from leadership, from this committee, from educators, from all of us to ensure that every educator feels valued, heard, and safe. As we approach Superintendent Lummis's evaluation, it is imperative to reflect on the current state of Gloucester Public School District. We must ask ourselves, Are we fostering an environment where educators feel respected, valued, supported, and safe? Addressing this crisis requires more than acknowledgement. It demands actionable steps. We need to engage in open dialogues with our educators, understand their concerns, and collaboratively develop solutions. By doing so, we can rebuild a culture of respect and support, ensuring that our educators can thrive and, in turn, provide the very best education for the students of Gloucester. Thank you.
Is there anybody in attendance that wants to speak? No other hands online.
My name is Sean Lilly and I reside at 4 Kitefield Road in Rockport. I'm an educator here at the high school in the life skills program, and I have the privilege of being a member of the Union of Gloucester Educators. A number of years ago, there was a remake released of The Man in the Iron Mask, the old Three Musketeers. In one scene, the tyrannical King Louis is raging to D'Artagnan, now the captain of the Musketeers, that D'Artagnan's old comrade, retired Musketeer Athos, is involved in a plot against him. D'Artagnan tells the King of Athos's noble character and then says, if he has become our enemy, we should ask ourselves why. The educators in this district, virtually without exception, are skilled, dedicated, professional, and people of high integrity. If we weren't, you'd be crazy to let us in within a million miles of the children of this community. The superintendent's administration and the school committee have managed to alienate just about all. If people like the educators of Gloucester Public Schools have become alienated from you, you as the superintendent's administration and the schools committee should ask yourselves why. When skilled, dedicated, professional people of high integrity feel condescended to at best and ignored at worst, they treat us like the help, is the way more than one educator has put it to me. The superintendent's administration and the school committee should ask themselves why. When skilled, dedicated, professional people of high integrity feel unsafe and overwhelmed at school because we don't have the people to help our highest needs kids when they come to work with knots in their stomach and go home with tears in their eyes, the superintendent's administration, the school committee should ask themselves why. When skilled, dedicated, professional people of high integrity still don't make enough to cover their basic needs, even after 511 days without a contract and 2 weeks of picketing, the superintendent's administration and the school committee should ask themselves why. When skilled, dedicated, professional people of high integrity are forced to make the wrenching decision to withhold their labor purely as, and I will keep saying this until finally it registers with somebody, a matter of conscience, as a last resort to advocate for themselves and their students, the superintendent's administration, the school committee should ask themselves why. And when, even after the return to work, skilled, dedicated, professional people of high integrity are still leaving in their droves. Everyone from relatively new educators to 20+ year veterans of the district, because there's only so many times you can hit your head against a wall. The superintendent's administration and the school committee should ask themselves why. And all this asking themselves why should be integral to evaluating the performance of the superintendent's administration and the school committee, or that evaluation is not honest and cannot be taken seriously. All the conditions and the events I just described happened and are happening on the watch of this superintendent's administration and this school committee. They didn't just happen by themselves, and they happened to skilled, dedicated, professional people of integrity. Would you have us, the people of this community, believe none of it has anything to do with the performance policies and attitudes of the superintendent's administration and the school committee? That the actions of the superintendent's administration and the school committee in no way contributed to the dire situation the educators and students of this district faced before and after November 2024? If you really believe that, you should ask yourselves why. I guarantee you the educators have.
Really, this all starts with just a question.
Name and address, please.
Rich Francis, 123 Water Street, Beverly, educator here at Gloucester High School. And so I have a question, and I'm hoping that maybe later on I can find out the answer. Does the district, or is there a plan to do a staffing analysis of the Gloucester Public Schools? Do we know through quantitative and qualitative data how to determine personnel needs across its departments? If I'm informed correctly, the city council abrogated their responsibility last night and voted not to do an audit of the district. Without a structured, data-driven approach, how can our schools make objective decisions regarding staffing increases, reductions, or efficiency improvements? Or, as in a more jargony way, to leverage staff and strategize. To better understand where additional staffing is needed or where we can move staff to achieve better efficiencies, I'm requesting documentation from Gloucester Gloucester Public Schools outlining a staffing analysis process. A staffing analysis would help determine the appropriate full-time FTE staffing required to deliver services effectively. This should be completed in every school department, not just teachers and paras. It should be informational technology, administration, food service, transportation facilities, and other support staff. Some examples that we could get from a staffing analysis. Special education personnel. We know that individual education plans, IEPs, are legal contracts that outline the specialized services students with disabilities require. A true analysis should be conducted to determine how many hours of service, e.g. physical therapy, occupational therapy, counseling, specialized reading, behavioral support, speech therapy are mandated across the district. The total number of required service hours plus time for preparation and IEP meetings should inform FTE staffing levels. Intervention supports, reading and math. Data from assessments such as DIBELS and STAR 360 should inform staffing decisions for Tier 2 intervention programs. If students need intervention, the district should calculate how many FTE interventionists are required to meet student needs. Do we have enough? Are we staffing these positions already? Are people in these positions leaving for greener pastures? At the high school, do we have enough staff to offer enough options for students who are pursuing a variety of career and college options? Do we have enough staff to produce civic-minded graduates? At the elementary level, do we set class size guidelines based on research-backed recommendations for optimal student learning? Multi-language students, do we have enough staff based on the current numbers and projected numbers on ML students? This can be a tricky one because we don't really know how many kids we're going to have every time. Okay, and lastly, the district needs to confront the reality that people are leaving. We heard this.
Rich, your time is up.
Okay.
Thank you. Do you have a written statement you want?
Do I?
Do you have your written statement?
Yeah,
If you
I
want.
marked it up a little bit, so I can email that, dude.
Kurt Lickenbaugh, Gloucester High School, engineering and physics. As most of you know me, I've been here for a very, very long time. And you know that all the good effort that I put into my teaching and the kids that I actually produce are top notch. No one has ever said that I suck at my job. But now we have a problem. We have a problem right now because you have a PR problem. Nobody wants to go into teaching anymore. This is the reason why, because the way teachers are treated. They're not treated as professionals. We're treated as servants. No one has asked us to actually come to our classrooms and have a conversation. I would love to have that. That way you would actually know what the heck's going on in the building instead of relying on certain individuals to tell you what's going on in the building. My own 4 kids, my ex-wife and I told our kids, don't go into teaching. Why would you want to take crap money and why would you want to be treated that way? Teachers and people are not going into teaching anymore because it's just not a profession that you want to get into anymore. My father was 10th Group Special Forces. That's a Green Beret for you people that don't know. He taught me to be an officer in the military. And he says, you know your job, your problem is you need to go in and take care of your people. You take care of your people and their families, and they take care of the mission. We have gotten away from that kind of leadership. When I first came here, the people cared about what we did. The superintendent would have us over individually and have conversations with us. We don't have that anymore. A lot more other things, but I think that says it all. What you need to do is actually get better PR. How do you do that? Well, I'll tell you right now, the teachers that are leaving are saying, don't go to Gloucester. Why would you want to go there? So what teachers are coming over here? So you're going to get the lowest of the low. You're going to get people who can't get jobs anywhere else. And that doesn't help the rest of us who are stuck here. Now, granted, most of us are actually looking for other jobs because if we can make $14,000 in the next town over, we're going to go. And that is another problem you have. Because I've been here for 20-something years. And if a school hires me, I'm gone. And I've proven my existence here. I've proven that we've done a great job. So have many of us. But you treat us like we're like the newest teachers, that we don't know what the hell we're talking about. You try to tell us how to teach. It is ridiculous. I would love for you to come to my classroom. Come at one person every day, I don't care. I have an open door policy. When you come into my classroom, you will see education.
3 minutes is up.
That's all I need.
And Kurt, I've been in your classroom. I have seen.
No one's gonna end it this year.
I'd like to speak. My name's Eric Lee. I'd like to finish some of the comments that my brother here, Rich, was unable to finish. So I'm a high school biology teacher, and there are a couple things that are really important. I'm hoping that exit interviews are being given and fully the information to those people that are coming from those people that are leaving. I've heard a lot of things that are said that people are retiring. From what I know, from the majority of the people who have left, they're not retiring, they're going to other districts, or they're leaving education in general. So from those exit interviews could come the qualitative analysis that would help this particular body understand what's necessary to retain good teachers. When I listened to Mr. Jarvis, I just want to step back also on what Kurt was saying. When he used the words PR, he didn't mean hiring a PR firm. That's something that we should look at, what the cost of that was. And realistically, if we're just spinning things as one thing, if we're just presenting one-sided views towards things and not necessarily reflecting for what the people are saying as to why they're leaving, that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for that we can work as educators with the district so that we can attract, retain people here. That's most important. I also heard what I was trying to say about Mr. Jarvis when he was here. He used words that were business jargon. He used words like leverage. He used words like capitalize. He used words like going to look at the different job areas that are there, which is perfectly fine to look at that. But the solution is not to decide this is the pot of money that we have here, and this is what we're going to do with the people that we have and increase the work for them without giving them the resources that are necessary in the support, especially for our special educated teachers. And I'm afraid from a distance, that's what it looks like. This is what the mayor says the budget is. This is what you're going to get, and then you have to figure out how you're going to do it. We need a comprehensive view like what we're talking about as far as the staffing that's necessary to provide these services. Otherwise, we will continue to be out of compliance, and what will that cost at the very end? So as we go forward, please listen to your educators, and please listen and please evaluate those people who are leaving and the reasons why they're leaving, and work together to try to help it so that people will stay here.
Christine Travers. I reside at 25 Uncas Road, Gloucester. I'm a proud member of the Union of Gloucester Educators. This is personal for me tonight, and I'm going to try to maintain some composure. I'm here tonight to speak on behalf of the students, the reason we're all here, students of Gloucester, who have lost exceptional, dedicated, and invaluable educators. I have worked with each of these educators that I'm about to speak about, 4 people. I feel these losses personally, I feel these losses professionally. In the last month, we have seen the resignation of Sean Lilly, a dedicated special education teacher who's worked tirelessly for our neediest students. I work with those same students. I know how hard that job is. Shelley Lazat, a passionate educator who supports at-risk youth. She has built phenomenal relationships with the staff and with the students. Allison Murphy, a speech pathologist who helps children find their voice. Lisa Labella, a school adjustment counselor at West Parish, who has built strong, lasting connections with students and families. People don't walk away with this much experience for no reason. These losses are not just names on a list, but I want you to hear their names. I want the public to hear their names. They represent years of dedication, relationships, and expertise that have shaped the lives of countless students. And the hardest truth is that these losses were preventable. They were preventable. When we lose educators of this caliber, we don't just lose employees, we lose mentors, we lose advocates and lifelines lifelines, literal lifelines for students who rely on them every single day. There are stories that they could tell you that you might not believe because you aren't there every day. And I understand that you're not there every day. These positions are not easily filled, and the impact of their absence will be felt deeply for a long time to come. So I ask, what's being done? What's being done to stop this from continuing? What steps are being taken to retain the educators who still remain? Because this is not just about those who have left. It's about those who are still here wondering what's next, who's next, those who may think of coming here. The time for action is now. Gloucester students deserve stability. They deserve educators who feel valued and supported, and they deserve a school system that fights to keep its best people. Thank you.
I don't have anything prepared, so I'm just gonna talk off the cuff. Melissa Desmond, 5 Baker Street, Gloucester. To piggyback on what Lisa was saying, I've sat through 2 presentations now by Dr. Mike Jarvis on his improvement plan of how things are gonna change in special education in the district. And I'm gonna tell you, after today's meeting with him, we sat during lunch, gave up our lunch to have a meeting with him, the special educators at West Parish. It sent panic through the room. Because we're already understaffed, we're already overloaded, we're already not getting prep times, we're not taking our lunches, we don't have time for our testing. And this is not just West Parish, this is across the district. And now he's saying, well, we're gonna do a co-teach model. And in theory, that sounds great, but what happens, and I'm gonna advocate for my students and the students in the programs, what happens to those kids who are the most struggling learners in our district? It's almost like we're saying, okay, we're gonna give up on you. And I know that's not what we're thinking, but looking on paper, his plan looks wonderful. It looks beautiful, just like Pentucket has. It looks great. But in reality, it can't be done with the current staff we have. It can't be done with the students we have in front of us right now. I'm not saying that we're against it. I will do whatever I can to improve the lives of these special education students and the gen ed students so that they can get the services they need. But it's not a come in and overhaul everything, and that's what we're all feeling, that everything's being overhauled. And it should really be taking in baby steps, and I think I mentioned that when I met with Mr. Lemus this week. And it really scares us as educators, and the fact that we've lost so many people already. People are turning away from special education. People aren't going into education to begin with. And it's just really scaring me as a parent, as a teacher, and as a community member, because our schools should be a top priority. And it just doesn't seem like the people who are making the decisions are actually coming in to see the classrooms. And I know that any one of us would welcome any of you at any time to come in and observe a day in our classrooms to see what it's like. But I just ask that before you set any grandiose ideas into play, you take time to talk to teachers, take time to look at what's happening in the schools. That's all I got. Let's see how many people we have lost.
Marianne Boucher online.
Thank you, Marianne Albert Boucher, 93 Mount Pleasant Avenue. This is really hard to listen to every single school committee meeting. I remember when you all sat in the building committee, getting ready to build a new consolidated school. And you spoke of how every teacher, 100% of the teachers were in favor of building a new school because it was going to bring such positivity and it was going to help our students. Well, you built West Parish and now you've built East Veterans. And what I'm seeing personally is the dismantling of our schools, of our teachers and staff, and it's trickling down to our children, our students. We had 6 retirees that gave 142 years combined of dedication to the schools who worked for special education. 142 years. That averages out to 23.4 years per per employee. And I feel, and a lot of people feel that they were very disrespected. Okay, they signed the agreement, but it shows such disrespect. I'm asking you to please sit at the round table instead of being on either side of the table and work with these people. As Rachel said, and the other people following her, you are losing some very, very valuable instructors. You're losing Amy Pasquarello, you know. I know you know. You've sat with so many of these people. You're proud to be the principal of the East Gloucester Elementary School. Very proud of it. And I'm sitting there and I'm seeing faces. There's not a smile on any of you. Some of you even have your cameras shut off, which is really disappointing. If we need to bring back the community to act as one instead of separated, and it's so separated and it's so disappointing. It's disappointing for all of you. It's disappointing for the teachers that are standing there speaking to you. It's disappointing. The morale in the schools, I hear it every day. While I'm not on the school committee and I'm not on the city council, you know I'm a big advocate and I come to all these meetings and a lot of people get in touch with me. And I'm asking you, Superintendent Lummis, please, please, please do something. You're at the helm of all of this. And I'm asking you to please find a way with your leadership to bring this community back together. This is not, I'm not here to argue or complain. I'm pleading with you to find a way to bring this community back together for the best interest of the students, the teachers and staff of this community. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Are they done on that?
Yes.
Dan Graham, 1 Bickford Way. I actually wasn't planning on speaking tonight, but I think, I feel like I think you guys feel everyone's kind of on loop right now. And like, we need to accept, we've had some real tough conversations with each other that got really ugly. Mr. Mayor, you and I have had this conversation. Ben, you and I have had this conversation, right? We have had some serious conflict. I'm tired. I've had kids go out this week in ambulances. We've had more fistfights than we've had in years. I have kids hospitalized. I'm exhausted. My tier 3 programs right now don't have the teachers in them. And I'm being asked as the counselor to come in and like fill the gap. Our kids are struggling. I know it feels like every session we're coming in and yelling at you. It is coming from a place of passion. And I would ask that, how can we bridge this gap? We have to do this. We have to stop sitting across from each other. We have to stop yelling at them, friends. I know you're passionate. We have to stop yelling at them because you can't hear when people are yelling at you. And you have to start respecting back. Appreciate it's, we get these great letters on Teacher Appreciation Day. If you had 5 minutes of my day, you would be buying me flowers right now. You have no idea what I'm doing. We have to figure out a way. We have to do this. We can't go on like this. Our kids are suffering. Our community is suffering. And every time I come to these meetings, I feel this wedge between us. I'm tired and I want to cross that gap. I just would close by saying, I want to end on a positive because we're all doom and gloom right now. Amy Pasquarello, I have appreciated so much the team meetings you've had with us. I appreciated the moment during the strike where you and I sat at a table and you said, help me understand. And you listened. And we argued and actually we got in a little fight for a bit, didn't we? Right? Yeah. And then we heard each other and we got what we needed to do. That's, I think, that's the model we need. We need to start our conversation with some, let's be civil again. And we have ownership for that too, guys. Sorry, don't want to piss any of my friends off. We're coming in hot-headed and we're getting more hot-headed because we don't feel heard. And guess what's happening? The more you yell, you lose your voice. We also have to, we want them to change. Sorry, I feel like you need to come and work with us, and I don't feel that. And we need to stop this engagement, because it's not working. We need to be open to them coming to us as well. If we're gonna continue to yell at them, what's the motivation to come talk? What's the motivation to go to classroom, right? And it needs to happen. Because sorry, I was shocked during our negotiations about how much you don't know about what happened in the school. Genuinely, I don't mean that as an insult. There were statements made where I was like, don't we know what we do? Do you know what our life is like? So I can't speak for everybody. Come in, come talk to me. Come do a tour with me. See what's going on. I won't yell at you. I'll answer your questions, ask them. And when I say this is what I'm struggling with, before having a response, right? Listen, just hear it. Hear where we're coming from. Listen to it, and then step back from what you're hearing and say, okay, let me process this, let me think about it, and let me come back with some questions. Let's start dialogue again. Because if we keep doing what we're doing now, we are not living up to our kids and what they deserve and what Gloucester deserves. We have to bridge the gap. We have to. And we have to too, Fred. And you have to too. We need to start letting go of some of this toxicity. It's not helpful. Amy, I genuinely appreciate the opportunities to start the conversation, but you and I can't do this.
Yeah, that's 3.
We will move on to recognitions. Does anybody have anything positive and celebratory to say? We had any, I know play was a couple
I
weeks
do,
ago.
yeah, I checked my calendar to make sure I didn't already comment on this. I went to 101 Dalmatians over at West Parish. It was a terrific show, and well done by the students and the staff that was involved in that, and really appreciated the opportunity to attend. And the invitation.
And I'll recognize the basketball team, which we can't hear, but somebody closed the door, but all sorts of scoring was going on when we got the glimpse of what's going on, so good luck to them. Mayor?
And I don't know if the Battle of the Bands was before or after our last meeting, but I went to that. It's really cool to see that, you know, it's these kids who are young high school kids playing Hall & Oates songs. You know, it was kind of an eclectic mix from hard rock, hard thrash metal to Hall & Oates, and it was really good. The days I was on the stage there in the 80s, but it was fun. There's an article in the paper today about it, about the winners, so check it out.
It doesn't come till the afternoon.
Kathy.
Oh, sorry,
I'd like
Laura.
to-
I did see
That's
you.
okay.
Okay.
I just want to do a pre-recognition for Descendants. The O'Malley Middle School play begins Friday night, 2 weekends, 6 shows, I believe. So it's a pre-recognition for all the hard work that's gone in from students and staff and parents and everyone else. So a pre-recognition for that show.
Great. It's well attended as always.
We have joined the student advisory council here, but Amy Pascal has been given from their advisors some updates from the students, and so she's going to play.
I'm gonna try to remember what it was like to be in high school, or it was decades ago, but I'll do my best. So from the photography, congratulations to Charlie O'Mara, Colby Warren, Lexi Thomas, Kate Cooper, Lauren Sargent, Colin McQuinney, and Vincent Shimataro, all who have work on display for the annual Through the Student Lens exhibition. On view beginning March 2nd at Marblehead Arts Association. They're located at 8 Cooper Street in Marblehead. Artist reception is from 2 to 4 on Sunday. The exhibition will be up throughout the month of March. And if you have the opportunity to get over there, it is an incredible show. If you have any of these students, if you see any of these students, please congratulate them. From the exchange program, next Wednesday, the AEP Day for 9 GHS seniors participating in the American Exchange Project's Domestic Exchange Program. During homeroom, we will have a small celebration for students will receive their letters. I'm reading it as the students, so when I say we, I'm speaking as the high school student. I'm from student council. We finished Secret Pal Week for staff. Teachers received random acts of kindness or small little gifts. It was great for staff to meet new students. Secret Spirit Week. Last week, staff did a Secret Spirit Week. Tuesday was anything but a mug and college sweatshirt day. Wednesday was slumber versus lumber. So, people had to guess if they were dressed as a lumberjack. Thursday was retro day. Friday, International Day, which also coincided with World Language Week. And the World Language Department planned a week of competitions, posters to be viewed and to view Life is Beautiful and the performance by an Irish group. The school was decorated all week too. From NHS, invitations have gone out to students. Induction is on March 20th at 6 p.m. Hold the date if you can make it. The class of 2028 is holding a jalapenos night this Monday from 5 to 9. The drama, Saturday, March 8th, the GHS Theater Program will again host the METG, Massachusetts Theater Celebration Drama Festival. 4 schools from around Massachusetts will join Gloucester to each present their one-act plays for the audience. After each performance, the students will be given feedback and time to workshop moments from the show with judges working professionally as performers in Massachusetts. Tickets are $5 at the door, cash only, for the whole day of shows, or tickets can be purchased online before the festival day by using the card visiting metg.org. At 9 o'clock, it will be Malden Catholic. At 10:40, it will be Weston High School. At 1 o'clock, our Fisherman Gloucester will be there. At 2:20, South Shore Charter Public School. And at 3:40, Groton Dunstable High School. And then a late addition to the report is the GHS DECA will be attending the 66th Annual State Career Development Conference at the Boston Convention Center and Exhibition Center in the Seaport District. The DECA students have been preparing for a highly competitive conference this year. They'll be competing with 3,614 Massachusetts DECA students from around the state. And the following students competing. In the financial operations and research, we have Sarah Finn Costa, Jefferson D. Carmo, and Henry Harrison. For financial operations research, we have Isla Black. Financial consulting with Cape Ann Savings Bank, Fiona Black. Franchise business plan, Cameron Nunez and Hannah Sherlock. Innovation plan for after school, Miles Tran Harrison. Hospitality and tourism operation, Kiera O'Brien, Julian Nixon, and Viella Rin. For international business plan, Martina Cracchiola, Sophia Cravello. Marketing communication series, Alexis Thomas. Sports and entertainment operation research, Alina Brown. And finally, business solutions projects at Adeline Amaro, Janelle Braglione, and BBD. You did well. There you go.
3 minutes is up.
My 3 minutes is up. There you go.
Thank you for your positive report. I appreciate it. I can stay?
You have to stay.
You let the high schoolers go.
You're staying.
Okay, so the next item of business is the consent agenda. Does anyone have any items they would like to remove?
Second. Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oh, we have to do roll call because Laura's online.
Mayor Verga,
Yes.
Mr. McKeon,
Yes.
Ms. Prince,
Could you step down?
Mr. Melvin,
Yes.
Mr. Minio.
Yes.
Chair Clancy,
Yes.
Ms. Weason.
Yes.
Okay, deliberations on education issues. Superintendent's report.
Thank you, Clancy. So I will give our update. Okay, so as we say, everything matters in the Gloucester Public Schools and everybody who everybody belongs, there you go. So tonight, gives an update from around our schools. Stephanie, could you just on the stripe of the.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, just reduce that, thank you very much. And monthly staffing update, and then the evaluation recommended by the school committee will follow those two. Our kindergarten registration is up and running at our first incoming kindergarten parent and family night last night at West Parish. Tonight is at Beaman, and then next week will be East Veterans of Plum Cove. Really good attendance at West Parish last night, and you know, handing out packets and completing packets, and so we're off and running for next year's incoming kindergartners. I don't know what year that would be, but it's like, I guess it's 13 years from now. 238. Insane. It kind of sounds like it's gonna go to 50 or whatever. So anyway, that's up and rolling and going already. So a few updates from around school. So at O'Malley, Max Cornell came and shared a presentation on Japanese American incarceration during World War II. So tied into the middle school curriculum. His team developed a day program for students to gain an understanding of this era, use history, and learn Japanese culture.
Sorry.
Immersive sort of learning day.
I don't need to interrupt, but we can't see that, so we're trying to. We're trying to get it.
No, I
And that's what the feedback you're hearing. If you could just. No problem. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Great. Okay, very good. And then 8th grade ELA class has partnered with Lane's Coven through support from Gloucester Education Foundation, bringing professional actors to conduct workshops. That's bringing the part of the ELA curriculum with Shakespeare to life. So I really appreciate Stephanie's leadership on that, and also appreciate Gloucester Education Foundation's support, and then the partnership with Lane's Coven on that. So really, again, two examples of really bringing learning to life. O'Malley. West Parish, so this was the 100th school day of the year, yesterday, I believe. Yesterday, okay, yeah. At West Parish, they're continuing with grade 4 wit and wisdom training. That's been rescheduled to February tomorrow. We had Flannel Friday recently. Enrichment is happening in the libraries on Mondays and Tuesdays, and then of course celebrating the 100th school day by dressing them as a 100-year-old. That looks like. Some updates of Beaman. So Backyard Growers continues to be in our schools, obviously, and Beaman's having their February taste test in their cafeteria. Just had it recently, sorry. And it's serving sweet potatoes and chocolate mousse. Last week Beaman kicked off their reading festival with a school-wide assembly. They're having I Love to Read sort of a contest. They brought in Chris Johnson, who is the author of I Love to Read, and that kicks off their 2-week readathon, where they're going to be competing for most minutes read outside of school by each class. The result will be a pizza party for the class that reads the most. And then also they've just been finishing up their winter meetings for ELA. This is data meetings with teachers and coaches working together on supporting, identifying what students need additional support, interventions, as they aim to continue their growth towards their spring benchmark goals. So it's a great combination of different things going on at Beaman. And then Plum Cove. So instead of movies or entertainment or videos, Plum Cove has had recently a games day, or games, school-wide game time, basically. And the nice thing about that is folks are off screens, but they're practicing learning things like taking turns, winning and losing appropriately, which is always good lessons to learn for all sorts of humans. Supporting one another, team building, just really connecting in those ways, just really beneficial in many levels. Great to do. They also finished their winter benchmark and their data meetings as well, led by the math and literacy coaches. And again, just like Beaman and our other schools, identifying what intervention groups need to be created to help the students tier 2 support.
That's a great commonality we have across all our elementary schools. East Veterans, they also celebrated the 100th day of school. They had photo booth apparently, which is great. And they also finished up their data meetings as well. And then also just recently, you know, we have so many partnerships put together by our staff, our teachers, administrators, and East Veterans is getting another one up and off the ground. This is with the Bookstore of Gloucester. Part of East Veterans add books to the school's library, so it's just another example of how we have community connections in all our schools, to strengthen our schools, strengthen our sports students. So really appreciate East Veterans getting that up and off the ground. Gloucester High School, Gilletter's here tonight, which is great to see. But also want to acknowledge some accolades they've gotten recently. The Gilletter earned an audience engagement badge for the best of school newspapers online for meeting certain thresholds. And the Gilletter is actually the only Massachusetts school newspaper with that badge at this point. So it's about using social media to engage audience, and then also using those analytics to measure and understand their readership. Great. Ruby McElhaney was published in the best of school newspapers online for her report on multilingual learners and support. And then Santana Faria was also published in best of school newspapers online for her article on the contract negotiations. And in the online version support, you can link to those articles. Great, excellent work from Gilletter as always. I do often think that Gilletter is a more worthy news publication than many out there, but not most out there. So I really appreciate the two of you and all the work by the staff there. Yeah, of course. Also we're in our family community speaker series, is the third year of it, to help families and parents and children, students, a variety of areas for support. Our speaker late in March, will be Caleb Joseph, who's a speaker who is a former athlete, former Division I basketball player, and he's brought to us from teacher Rory Gentile, who saw him speak, GHS teacher at Endicott, and was really persistent in getting Mr. Joseph to come here. Also supported by the Gloucester Fishermen's Athletic Association, the City of Gloucester Health Department as well, for our schools, some grant dollars. Mr. Joseph is going to speak about how through his work as an athlete and through trials and tribulations in his life, he worked to develop emotional intelligence, resilience, and self-awareness. That has really been a basis for him successfully navigating emotional challenges. So geared towards all all ages and athletes, non-athletes, all students, all families. But just another example of really trying to share positive messages about what it means to grow up in today's day and age, and what that means for families and students in terms of really building a successful life pathway. So I appreciate Mr. Gentile's leadership on that. Sal's here, here's Gusa, just a legend and a really important part of our school community for many years. Was recently graduated from Life Skills as he turned 22 and had a wonderful celebration here. I wasn't able to go, unfortunately, but I've heard lots about it. It was a real tremendous moment in the lecture hall there, followed by a party. But just current students and staff, but also former students and staff spoke to Sal and how inspirational he's been, his perseverance, and his just great nature. And just it was, from what I understand, just a really meaningful moment for Sal, but for everyone who's attending. So just really want to appreciate Sal again and recognize his achievements. Battle Advance event, as Mayor Berger mentioned earlier. Here's a couple pictures of two of the winners. So if I had this right, it was on February 7th, and American Single won for the judge's choice, and Demonic Cherub, People's Choice. You always wonder if folks come up with band names. Those are two pretty good ones. So we appreciate.
Flip through a dictionary and pick words at random.
That's one way.
I can tell you from experience, it's the thing that breaks bands up.
Thank you. And then a couple other things, just medical system, we're continuing to move forward and put steps in place to launch the medical system this fall.
Here we have examples. So one of the things happening right now is our VOTech carpentry and electrical students are the ones who are repairing and rebuilding and rehabbing the room that will be the medical assisting room. The number of it right now, but it's 14 something, possibly. I think it's the former culinary room, which has been sort of storage for IT and other things left late. But they're doing, you can see there, Adam Romanek and Evan Porter, thankfully showing with proper personal protective equipment, that they do some work there. They're doing carpentry and also electrical working as well. So really appreciate carpentry instructor Steve Abel and Bob Devlin Electrical for their work with students, leading them to do some really great work to support the school community. We'll also be involved with the building inspector, you know, the permits, that sort of stuff, and making sure that we're doing it all to code and whatnot. So I do want to say a couple things as we're launching and move toward launching medical assisting. Obviously, the reason for it is to expand the pathways our kids have towards creating, you know, their lives and being prepared for stuff outside beyond graduation. And the more we can offer that variety and expand it, especially in leading to, you know, careers, is really important. We've selected medical assisting a couple of years ago after, with the hopes of broadening the attraction and the students who are you know, getting into VOTech, but also because of the demand for health care positions, and also the fact that medical assisting is one that can lead to a lot of pathways for our students. So a lot of different roles, great training in a broad area related to medicine and health, but also unlike what they call health assisting, which really just leads you towards a pathway to nursing. Very, you know, important profession, obviously, but medical assisting gives our students more options to pursue greater fields, whether that's continuing education or in the workforce. So all the work we're doing now to lead up to launching it is all grant-based. Gloucester Education is helping us, other grants as well. It's not coming out of the operating budget in any way at this point, not taking it in any way, shape, or form away from the other programs at CDTE. One, in fact, it's adding to, and one way it's adding is obviously giving them a project close to home, like rehabbing medical assisting. So I really appreciate that. The other thing about medical assisting is by adding a 5th program to our VOTech, it allows us to, we're then required to create an exploratory program. So by doing that, it also helps the benefits the whole school, as well as all the 4 other programs, because all 9th graders will have exposure to all the programs, all 5 programs, and we're hoping that will get kids engaged in things they maybe haven't thought about being engaged or aware of, but also potentially strengthen and expand all of the programs further. So there's a lot of benefits coming from the work we're doing to expand the medical system. And then the last piece here, another update from high school. So as folks know, we've had K-Band Savings Bank has had a branch in Gloucester High for a long time, 34 years, it turns out. Lots and lots of students have benefited from both the financial literacy education we do here, but also working in a real world setting for years. Just recently, K-Band Savings Bank helped me understand that many students have gone on to working at the bank. Currently, 7 former students who work in the K-Band Savings Bank branch in the high school are working for the bank, including Mindy McCastro, who's been there for 32 years. The bank. So if you do the math, that means she was one of the first people to do the banking here. Then went into the workforce with them, and has probably been there ever since. So really appreciate that. I'm sharing this because there's another shift in this partnership. As most folks understand, not too much going into a bank these days and working, you know, with a teller. So there's work we've been doing in the recently in the savings bank because the changing nature of banking has really been sort of out of date, and been thinking for a while about how to update it. And Gloucester High leadership, our counselors, and also K-Band Savings leadership have come up with a good transition, a good next step. And now it will be closing down the branch here. There's much use for it at this point, but it'll be opening up internships for our students to be working at the bank. And by doing that, have a much more sort of modern and sort of future-oriented approach. Come into much more contact with a much wider variety of roles than you could here in the branch. And also understand a much wide variety of the work that banks do these days. So that's not only the teller role, but deposits, lending, understanding financial products, customer service, financial topics. So the internships start with 2 interns per semester as they get it going. Cape Ann Savings Bank's being very thoughtful about how to approach it, make sure they build it in a way that they can sustain it, and also really support students. And then as they get that, underneath them on that, then they're committed to expanding to more and more students. So again, like our voc tech work, like our robotics work, like our science work, like all of our work here, really another example of setting kids up for success in whatever steps they take after they graduate from Gloucester High. So again, it's the end of an era, definitely, but really do appreciate the bank's interest and willingness to continue to play a role in Gloucester High. We really think this is a good next step to give kids really valuable experience and education. Thank you. I think that's all. Before I go into staffing update, any questions about it? As you know, last month we started.
Just a quick question about the medical assisting area. Is that gonna be a treatment area in any respects, or do we know that yet?
Just explain to me what you mean by treatment.
Well, assistant, right, the medical assistants, I assume would take, demonstration of certain practices. So I wondered what would be happening in that room, if there going to be any kind of actual, practice.
Yeah, they'll be taking like
Medical
vitals and that sort of stuff, I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah.
I don't know exactly the curriculum, I just can't speak.
I mean, I know it's still in flux.
But other folks know much more than I do right now, okay? But no, they will be taking vitals and things like that, so if you consider that treatment, yes. I don't know the specifics yet. Oh, no, public isn't coming for treatment, no, not at all. No public treatment at all.
Sure,
It's not open
so
for-
fellow fellow students.
Yeah, fellow students, so other students under the program, so we're both in the program, one's being the patient at that point, that sort of thing. But I don't know to what level it is.
Yeah.
No surgery.
I know lot's being developed,
Yes. But there will be but and also treatment in terms of working on I don't call them dummies, I probably call them
Training.
training.
You can call
bodies.
dummies,
Training
dummies.
Yeah, but you know what I mean,
You're not thinking.
like mannequin type thing, yeah, but these are ones that are like, built for these purposes.
Yes.
So they have pulse and that sort of
Yeah.
stuff, they have respirations and sort of thing, so, that's how they.
Okay.
So there's simulations as well as.
It's a simulation lab.
Okay, that's.
I don't think dummies or mannequins is.
Simulation
Only
lab.
one person who's.
But some of the mannequins or whatever might have a pulse, that they would take the pulse, they have respiration, they can count that. It's a training facility.
If we saw it at the North Shore Community College, they are, I wouldn't say realistic, but they feel kind of real. Even comparing one of their older models to one of the newer models. It's come down to them.
It's gonna be robotic and.
And they'll be controlling the world. Yeah.
Let's go to staffing update. So again, we are having challenges with staffing right now. It's more challenging than since I've been here, since I've been here. There are local issues and concerns certainly, and also macro ones as well. So let me just give some updates here. So the ones you see highlighted are new openings, basically. The ones you see that are not in bold print are, still open from when I gave the report a month ago. There are other ones I don't have on here that we, fill, that sort of thing. I think maybe perhaps next month, we will fill, we'll also put the ones that we filled on as well, okay? So again, just what continues, one of the pieces here is special education related positions are becoming more and more staff are leaving, but also they're very difficult to staff. That really is sort of
system-wide, statewide, and probably beyond the scenario. There are real challenges, in terms of, just, the supply of teachers. That's probably not going away anytime soon, and particularly in the most difficult position and what I mean by that is, sort of highest need students, but that also includes multiple students as well. So, departures at the beginning of the year, so total, this is teachers and paraprofessionals, 11 teachers and 10 paraprofessionals, from the beginning of the year. That's an increase of 4 teachers, 4 teaching positions. That would include like an adjustment counselor this past month, okay? The reason for departure, there are many, and they're varied. And we learn them in a variety of ways. But there are retirements, there's folks moving away to different places, there are folks moving to higher positions in the district or a different district. Folks who believe a position was too challenging or seeking a less complex position. There's higher salaries in other districts, folks leaving the education field. We are doing exit interviews, we've fallen behind on them, we will continue to do them. I will report sort of in a way with more specifics as we obviously go forward based on those exit interviews. Yeah, so we'll be looking at reasons and rationales, certainly things we can learn about what the local situation is here, certainly by listening to folks and need to do that. But again, we are trying to keep up with those, trying to catch up with the exit interviews. We fell behind in the fall, obviously. And as I said last month, departures in hard to fill positions, special education and multilingual educators are really, really difficult to fill. That's not just a Gloucester situation. We feel it every single day here. It's a big impact. But you will see the need for these types of educators. Every district you look, there's a real challenge in the field right now. The other area I think that is of the highest concern for year over year, district program staff retention, especially at the elementary level. Okay. We will expect to happen as we sort of really continue to work very hard on where we are with education, and that means our inclusion programs, our services, related services, and also program. We strengthen them in the years to come. That as those positions becomes clearer and the expectations of programs, the program definition become clearer, that clarity helps attract people and retain people. But that's really difficult work that's going to take time. That does not give us answers right now. Just look at the long-term view. So here are the specifics again. So you'll see the changes were either in January or February. Here are the additions since last time. And these are essentially when folks departed. They may have given notice earlier type of thing. So there may be something on here that don't because they've given notice, but they haven't departed yet. Because typically, when I would give a notice and actually departures, okay. But you can see education program teachers this past month, and these veterans in O'Malley. Learning centers also special education position, the ESP as well there. So again, that is hitting us right where we have the most need. And these are difficult positions and they're difficult to fill. Just don't need to go on this. Just again, the context related to other across the state. Historically, our retention has been slightly better than the state. And then this is again last year's data on our dark districts, our neighboring districts. Again, sort of middle of the road here. I guess higher than the middle of the road. We're closer to the top here than we are at the bottom. So sort of right smack in the middle. Again, just trying to give some broader context for folks, in case folks haven't seen this before. The other thing, and this is an area where we have to do more work. And I hear the GTA leadership speaking about this, and I think it's a really, really powerful place for us to partner and collaborate on, and then we surely need to, because we have got to get better at not only posting positions, but also pursuing them. It's gonna get harder and harder. We're participating in job fairs, we never have before, or not recently, I should say. We're improving the sort of time between folks announcing departure and posting. But what we really have to get much better at is, pursuing folks. Developing partnerships, perhaps some apprenticeships. The DESE is starting some apprenticeship program that perhaps we get involved in with local colleges. Some of the challenges there that other folks are trying to do that too. But we have to get much more aggressive than we have been ever. We go through a real change in dynamic in terms of. You have to also better understand why folks are needed here. But that's in the context, and that's in the context of a larger systemic change. That's worries us. I really deeply believe there are tremendous reasons to work in Gloucester. We have dynamic schools and people. The commitment from our staff is I'd say unmatched with anybody anywhere. And more importantly, I think one of our real draws is there's a really strong commitment and care for this community and for the families and students that I just haven't sensed of places I've been. That is that sort of togetherness around that commitment, that sort of care is really one of our major draws. We also have a good draw when folks, meet our people in the interview process. That's meeting staff and school leaders. They are really drawn in by them. It's a huge credit. So how can we get more of that? Get people to know us sooner, faster than we are. I do appreciate really hear and know from talking to folks in our schools and being in our schools, like this is hard stuff. And folks have heard me say again and again, no more challenging job than anyone will ever have being a public school teacher, okay? Especially schools with diverse needs and wide range of needs. And at the same time, need to keep on being better able to talk about the strengths and what comes with that challenge. And together as a coming together to do hard work, meaningful work is very powerful. And to keep on to do a better job. And when I say we, I mean this is takes all of us. This is not something that a superintendent can do by itself. That's something the school committee can do. It's not even your role. But we have to do a much better job of and be much more aggressive. So those aren't easy answers. That's not an easy challenge. But I need to do more of it. So I'm here with folks. Anybody can go for this. So, I think that's the.
I'm going to be the first to ask a question about that.
Sorry?
I'm going to be the first to
Sure.
ask a question on this topic. Has the Department of Education talked at all about public service announcements? A few years ago they were breaking. And I brought on student attendance. They had it on the radio, they had it on TV. Somebody with a statewide presence needs to promote the teaching profession. Because yes, it's challenging, but like a lot of jobs that are challenging, we do things because there's equal, if not greater reward. And somebody needs to be talking about the positive rewards, because I think so many jobs are challenging. So many roles in the world that people do that we get exposed to and say, oh my gosh, thank goodness that's that job, because I couldn't do that job, but they've made such an impact on me. I think of nurses, I think of so many people in the healthcare field. And so somebody, I don't think the MTA is going to take charge on this because it doesn't seem to be on their list of things to do, but somebody like the Department of Ed, if they have in the secondary and there's higher ed, at the state level, it'd be great to promote ways of teaching.
So I don't know, I mean, DESE is certainly aware of the issue, the challenge, okay? I don't know about public service announcement campaign with them. I don't know if they're, the right ones in position to do that. Certainly, I would say, I should not tell the governor what to do here, okay? But I mean, the governor has that sort of voice and fully pulpit, and then, And that's the sort of thing that the governor's office could lead with support of the Department of Education, right? And that's just, sort of. I will say that the school, Students Association doesn't have that sort of leverage, doesn't have that capacity or bandwidth, or, doesn't have that sort of, how to say this, just static, like this power, right? I do think the MTA is, is actually a really good idea in terms of powerful and then really getting around on so many important things and I don't know what they're doing on that, but they certainly could, that's just, suppose that, okay? But I do think that, despite how challenging working both schools is vital work and, yeah, there needs to be some more about getting folks in the profession. We'll focus on here, every way we can, but it needs some bigger juice as well. We shall be very concerned about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess, right,
Yeah.
yeah. No, it's a major.
Give me an idea. I'll try to fix it. Okay, that concludes the superintendent's report. Okay, the next item of business is the superintendent's evaluation. We are woefully late on the evaluation that we are delivering this evening. It is for the 2023-2024 school year, and it's a little confusing when you're working on it because there's recent information, but you're trying to think back to last year, which was year 2 of the 3-year ongoing plan for improvement. So there's probably a little bit of a mix in terms of comments, but so I just want to make sure people realize that this is a little bit late because there's obviously been a lot of things occupying many of our time between negotiations. And a lot of us spent a lot of time doing, and there's been a lot of district work going on as well. Okay. So I will preface this by saying this is really, superintendents seem to be the only position that are evaluated in public, and I think somebody should change that. Not that the evaluation can't be a public document, but that the process should not be as awkward for people who do some amazing work as superintendent. Okay, so on professional practice goals, we set goals prior to the 2023-2024 school year, and professional practice goals. The ratings are did not meet, some progress, significant progress, met or exceeded. There are 7 of us, and 2 rated significant progress, 4 rated met, 1 rated exceeded. Student learning goals, 4 rated some progress, 1 significant progress, 1 met and 1 exceeded. District improvement goals, 4 significant progress, 2 met and 1 exceeded. We also assess the superintendent on standards similar to the educator evaluations as well. In terms of instructional leadership, there's 1 rating for needs improvement, 5 for proficient, and 1 for exemplary. And I will say that we put the same standard as Desi has trained us to do, which is proficient is a very high bar. It's not a B, it's an A, and exemplary is probably an A++. So proficient means that there's consistent, really great work going on. Management and operations, 1 needs improvement, 1 proficient, or 4 proficient, 1 exemplary. Family and community engagement, 3 proficient and 4 exemplary. Professional culture, 2 needs improvement, 3 proficient and 2 exemplary. Overall summative performance evaluations, there's 1 with needs improvement, 5 proficient and 1 exemplary. I will, so my job as chair was to kind of summarize, synthesize the evaluations and come up with an overall evaluation. Yeah, I'm going to read this into the record. The overall evaluation by the school committee is that Superintendent Lummis has a clear and concise vision in leading Gloucester Public Schools and is committed to improving student learning through impactful curriculum advancements, stronger student supports, and shared responsibility across the district for student outcomes and belonging. Superintendent Lummis provided a thoughtful reflection on his goals, which highlighted progress. Some notable items are establishment and effective results of school-based attendance teams, which show improved student attendance, strengthening the CVTE program, increased family engagement, development of a special education handbook. Those are just some of the items. Areas needing increased focus identified by Superintendent Lummis include a more focused approach to inclusive practicing of special education students and multilingual learners, and implementation of the special education manual. Particular strengths highlighted in evaluations include strong instructional leadership, progress towards a district-wide culture of reflective practice, leading by example, strengthening teams with a clear focus on collaboration and building a positive culture, a strong focus on strengthening special education, indicating his tireless work to ensure all students feel valued and have the opportunity. Also highlighted is Superintendent Lummis being a great communicator with various stakeholders, his strong leadership team who share the district's vision, and significant improvement in family engagement through many forms of communication and efforts, including culturally responsive communication. Superintendent Lummis's budget and overall operational management is also a key strength, which is important in such a large, complex organization. He does have the biggest management job aside from mayor in town and in any town, quite honestly. Also noted was Superintendent Lummis's exemplary character and deep commitment to Gloucester students. The key area of focus and improvement is student learning across the district, of which there are many initiatives to help every Gloucester student learn at higher levels, such as implementing and evaluating and refining curriculum investments and fostering collective practice. The committee was very candid about highlighting student growth percentages and the benchmarks and student needs as we receive regular benchmark data and we monitor it. And so we are definitely very transparent of what the issues are within our district and the work that is happening to make progress on those. This includes continued focus on more effective special education programs and practice, along with all the other initiatives that are in the outline plan for improvement. Finally, there is a unanimous feelings that Ben Lummis is an intelligent, knowledgeable, dedicated, and remarkable superintendent, and members continue to be grateful to have him as the leader for Gloucester Public Schools. And we have, we're gonna go, I'm not gonna go through all those ratings. We're gonna go to the standards of instructional leadership. And again, the overall ratings for instructional leadership were needs improvement 2, proficiency, proficient 4, and exemplary 1. And Bill's gonna change up the vocal sound in there by covering this.
So you want me to read this part here?
Yes.
I read it into the record. Comments and analysis. The big item worth noting is the overarching student learning goals. We continue to look for improvement in this area. Through implementation of newer curriculum and strategies, we hope to see steady growth in this area. We believe the tools and metrics are in place, but we need to see an upward trajectory in our students' test scores. These are comments by various school committee members, so I should use the word I. Invariably, there is, this is another comment by a school committee member. Invariably, there is still plenty of work to be done. Our benchmarks for SGP for the district at large are still out of reach. Yet Mr. Lummis is in the process of developing or has already initiated several useful tools to analyze and identify the issues at play. Also, curriculum has been revamped with the intention of a district-wide uniform overhaul. The district now has valuable tools to determine the effects of our efforts to make possible appropriate adjustments to strategy as needed. And the third comment was With regards to the superintendent, you have demonstrated a clear and effective vision for instructional improvement, aligning district goals with measurable student achievement outcomes. Under your leadership, the district effectively uses data to guide instructional priorities. Sharing resources are allocated based on student performance and areas of need. You have built and maintained strong collaborative relationships with all stakeholders, fostering a commitment to continuous learning and achievement for all students. Instructional leadership is one of two areas where I am most impressed with your efforts. You have developed and managed high-functioning teams who are committed to the variety of challenges, the challenges of our students.
Under management and operations, again, the overall ratings were proficient and super exemplary. One comment, through strong management, cooperative style, and loyalty to proven systems, Mr. Lummis has met and exceeded leadership characteristics towards ethical, but fiscally sound and appropriate management. Another comment, district operations are extremely well run. Leadership, his ability to manage a complex organization with hundreds of staff, systems, and programs is remarkable. Budget development is exemplary. Budget consistently reflects the district's vision, mission, and goals, even in times with less than adequate financial resources. Superintendent Lummis handled reductions in staff in a professional and thoughtful manner leading into fiscal year 2000.
Next one is family and community engagement. The overall scores were 3 for proficient and 4 for exemplary, and the comments were as follows. Communication remains Superintendent Lummis's greatest strength. He's engaging, likable, and a good listener. I appreciate the effort he puts forth as it pertains to communication. Another comment, the superintendent continues to make strides in engaging the public and providing safe schools for our children and school staff. Third comment would be during 2023-24, our district made significant progress in engaging families and stakeholders. The communications director at the direction of Ben provided regular communication to families about activities in our schools. It is most unfortunate that position could not be retained for 2024-25. The district also serves our families well through culturally proficient communication. The final comment would be, your outstanding communication skills are commendable. It is clear you prioritize transparency and welcome open dialogue to address community concerns, specifically when you address the challenges of fiscal year 2025 budget. I appreciate the way you communicate with staff. You are clear and strive to foster a positive and collaborative working environment, even when the messaging is difficult news. The outreach and assistance to our non-English speaking families over the past year is impressive. And the last one would be for professional culture. Overall rating of 1 needs improvement, 4 proficient, and 2 exemplary. And the comments are as follows by the school committee. Ben Lummis is an effective leader who leads by example. He has led with compassion and clarity, working to best ensure the ongoing improvement and healing of our district. He continues to build a strong leadership team and to engage stakeholders at many levels. I believe Ben has created an exemplary professional culture among our administrators. High marks here as well for his understanding that a shared vision is maybe the single most important trait that a district may have. We must continue to build on the need and desire to have all stakeholders built into the vision that we should uphold for our students and staff. Second comment would be, I wanted to add that I thought Superintendent Lummis was honest, forthright, and succinct in his attached reflection of the year-end review, or the year in review. It's not easy to take a look and recognize areas that need continued improvement. Commend him for his ability to look through the lens honestly. Third comment, Mr. Lummis has been excellent in all aspects of professional culture. That is evident by his constant attention to the school, staff, and students, as well as the school committee. And finally, your leadership sets a high standard and encourages staff to continuously strive for growth and collaboration. You lead by example and inspire the district to do their best every day, regardless of the challenges. I appreciate your efforts to promote cultural awareness and inclusivity, and your work, and you work hard to make sure everyone feels respected and included.
So that's the document. If anybody feels that you didn't capture or there are other things you wanted to add, but overall, very, very positive and well-earned evaluation. And thank you for all your very hard work.
Thank you.
You want me to say something?
No. Folks have something to say, because I have a couple things to say. Want me to come in right now?
I'll defer to you.
I mean, I appreciate the committee's being open and honest and direct, and supportive of the work that I do. As soon as evaluation and in particular mine is an odd thing. I think it's an odd thing in the way that it's like, I don't do much by myself. I do very little by myself. We work with a small group of people, usually Amy's in the room, much, or the work that we're talking about is more often the work of many people. And so it's fair to assess me, obviously, and of course you should, but I just want to acknowledge that I have an important role, obviously, but I really don't do much on my own. It's by working with others, by collaborating with others, it's by, perhaps maybe inspiring some people, on my best days, but it's, about, keep on working at it on the areas we have to improve. And as I said in my reflections, I just always I try to see the real strengths and the power of what we're doing, but I'm also very, very deeply conscious and about the work we have to do and then the challenge of it. And I know folks don't always, believe that I know those things, but I worry more about the positive, what you said here, and I worry more about the fact that, yeah, we have to keep on working and figuring out ways. And when I say we, I mean like my approach is staff, engaging students and engaging our leaders, understand the challenge we face and how we get better at it, because it takes, I'm never gonna have the best idea in the room, and I know that. It takes the voices of any room to do that. It includes a classroom, honestly. So I again deeply appreciate the positive feedback, and I know that I needed to keep doing better, and we all have work to do to prepare from the strike, and we're very difficult. This actually the word is disruption isn't quite the right word. That comes through difficult negotiation. And we got the most difficult negotiation process. And we need to continue to build bit by bit. I obviously have a big role in that. But that's a real challenge that it's going to take some time, and moments every single day to work on. So it's something that a lot of folks care about, think about, and we have work to do in order to get to a place where there's trust on intention, I would say. I really believe that folks' intentions are really good. I hope people believe that me, but we don't necessarily have the trust across the board about those intentions that we need. And I can do more on that. We can do more on that. And certainly, the last thing I think I'll say is just that think ultimately, part of that is we need to all become clear on where we're going and what we're trying to do and what we're committed to. That can happen at each school, these also happen across the district. But, as we build some clarity on, where we're going, what we're trying to do, and what we're committed to, I think that will help. That clarity will help us continue to move in the direction that, is right for this community. But that'll take work, and working together in small, larger groups, with staff and community members to figure out. I don't think we really know together, with a single mind, what we want for our kids. I think we want the good things for our kids, the best things for our kids, make sure they're ready for their lives beyond Foster High. But I think we can get more focused and sort of in a real committed way to what that specifically is. And that can help drive us to better things. I would just, sorry, I'm kind of rambling here, but last thing I'll say is the great things going on in our school every day. And it's very challenging as well. Both those things exist. And I will keep on talking about both those things. If we focus on one or the other, we're missing the whole picture, and we are. And if you don't say both those things, and keep on harping on both those things, then we can't move forward. It's not a full picture of who we are. Our staff and our leaders and our students create fantastic things every day, and it's hard. Both those things exist, and we've got to acknowledge and say, be as vocal about both of them, or we can't move on together. Stop there. But it just.
I just wanted to make a comment before we go on. It's about you and your evaluation tonight. So 2 very genuine conversations happened tonight, and one was from Dan when he got up and spoke. Hearing you speak now, and I can only hope that when this meeting is over and tomorrow when the school bell rings, that there's the beginning of a bridge or some sort of path to the sides coming together and healing from the strike and all that has happened because of the disagreements that have happened in the past. Because hearing from Dan tonight, that was a huge, okay, there's a sign of hope here. And hearing you respond in the way that I know you, which is very genuine, and I believe you care about our staff so much more than they know it. And I'm trying to figure out how do we get that portrayed? Because the statements that were said in your evaluation, your honesty and your appreciation and how good we think you are in communication. When you hear from teachers complaining about the opposite, I know I sit here like, how can this be? Where is the disconnect? But tonight, I'm hoping there's a connection there between those 2 conversations and that we move forward somehow and get better at what we're all doing. That's my only ask of everything that's been said tonight about your evaluation, because it can be done.
If I may, couple of things. One is I too appreciated Dan's comments, and I think Eric also mentioned working together. A bunch of people did, and I think that's really important. I also want to tell you a little story that I took my wife to lunch on Sunday. We went to Panera, so that tells you something about me as a husband. And taking her to Panera for a salad. But while I was there, while we were there having lunch, there was a teacher there, and she was doing her lesson plans for the week. Had all her lessons plans spread out on a table, and I told my wife, why don't you go sit in the truck for a few minutes, and I'm gonna see if I can talk to this person over here. She was gracious enough to let me sit down and chat with her for a few minutes, and it was a very enlightening conversation for me. And I've had a couple of those with teachers since the end of the strike, and I'm looking for people as a school committee member people that want to see the train leave the station, so to speak, and really drive change in the Gloucester Public Schools. I'm not used to losing. I'm not used to things not working out the way I think they should. And I'm certainly committed, and I probably can speak for the rest of my co-members that, hey, we're all committed to that. And I don't want anyone to leave this room thinking tonight, oh, the school committee's just got it in for, we got no chance yet. It's gonna happen through small conversations. It's gonna happen when me taking a chance and sitting down with a teacher and saying, hey, can I talk to you for a few minutes? And hearing some things that I might feel uncomfortable and being able to relay some things that may be uncomfortable for that teacher as well. And the challenges are enormous. And anybody that doesn't think that they are is kidding themselves. And but it's not gonna happen unless it's a collaborative effort. It's not gonna happen unless these teams that we kind of have begun to form coming out of the strike work collaboratively to try and come up with some solutions. That doesn't mean that everybody gets what they want at the end of the day, but it at least allows a forum to be heard and to be, valued at a place that might be different than what you're thinking right now. So know that, again, I think I can speak for the rest of the council, that school committee members, that, hey, that's the goal. And 2 years from now, I want to be able to sit here or be able to look on the school committee and say, wow, there's been some effective change there. And I personally am looking forward to it. And I'm personally looking forward to meeting and talking to more teachers and listening to them and really kind of seeing what we can do about it. So I appreciate the comments tonight, like Melissa said, and I think there's watershed moments. I actually think during the strike, there's a couple of watershed moments that really kind of flipped the switch and allowed us to get to a finish line. And I think the same thing might have happened tonight. We'll see. So I appreciate you being here. And I think I went over my 3 minutes.
Yeah, I'd just like to say a few things. Well, the first thing I want to say is, the perspective that was required to fill out this evaluation was difficult to get in that headspace because so much has happened and this was so delayed. I had to reach back and put away recent events. I had to reach back like over half a year ago to keep that in perspective and not let it color this evaluation. So I don't know how successful I was with that, honestly. It was a difficult situation, but so there's a lot of things in each of our individual evaluations that we're not put into the record today that Ben himself has that he'll reflect on himself. So some things that I said, and other people have said that you guys didn't get to hear. So it's not just what you heard tonight. There's a lot of constructive criticism and we couldn't go over it all tonight, of course. But I'm just want to say, I grew up in Magnolia and I went through the whole 12 years in our public school systems. And then I went away for 20 years and I had a couple of young kids. And when I was given an opportunity to make a change in my life, I brought them back here and, brought my kids back to the school that I used to go to in West Parish and was brand new. And, got to tell my girl, this school is just as old as you are. And that was kind of something. So much has changed since I was a student in the system. But there are a lot of things that I remember and appreciated, and that's why I came back. And it's, it takes a lot to make change. And that's why I joined the school committee, why I put my hat in the ring, because I want the school system to be the best school system that it can be. And I know there's value. I saw it when I was a kid. I got a lot out of it, and it took a lot of personal initiative. And that's the other thing that we need to do is to make kids understand that they have the power to empower themselves, to take initiative, and they just need to take a little inspiration. It could be peer inspiration, it could be from their teachers, it could be from their parents, but we can do this together. And I'm not the type to hold grudges. I put my trust and all the teachers and the administrators with my children, and I just want to move on and make it the best for the kids in the next generation.
Okay, go ahead.
No, brief. First of all, Ben, this was stated, probably the only job that has a public evaluation, you know, so it's, we only have to get elected, which is so easy. But I think that to Melissa's point too about building a bridge, I think we certainly started to lay the foundation on both sides of the bridge. And one thing I'll remind everybody of, my cousin Rich, the history teacher, two of our closest allies in the world right now are Japan and Germany. And remember what it was like in, 1941 to 1946. So if we could do it, the three countries, I think that the educators, school committee, and school administration can make it work. And I think we had a lot of really good steps tonight. This is being said from both sides.
Okay.
Laura, what do you think?
Laura has her hand up.
Hold on. I'm not in the room, so it's hard to get a sense of exactly what's happening. But although I can hear everyone, but Ben, I want to say thank you for your leadership and your desire and the importance you're placing on building these bridges and hearing so many voices and taking in all of this information and criticism and with such respect for everyone who brings it. And it's been a difficult few months, and I think if tonight is a bridge towards healing, that is the best possible thing we could do for all of Gloucester Public Schools, for staff, for students, for families. And I would love to believe that tonight is the night it begins. That would be a beautiful thing. But thank you, Ben, for all that you have done.
We will move on.
So I just want to thank the committee for your review. I'm honored to be here. It's a privilege to work in Gloucester, to live in Gloucester. It's a privilege to serve this community and work with our tremendous staff and leaders. In terms of just healing, everything I can do, I'm open to doing. And I'm not one who comes up with a lot of really good ideas. So I need other people's ideas on how we work together to go forward. I'm open to those from anybody and everybody. But I am at least have the good sense to know that I'm not the one that comes up with all the good ideas. And we have a lot of powerful, a lot of intelligent, a lot of really great people that hugely dedicated in so many ways to this community and our students, and we need everybody to throw out ideas and work together on healing. And that's happening in lots of in small ways, a lot of small ways now, and some also more obvious ways. I mean, folks are doing it every day on that. I want to really acknowledge that. And we need to keep on coming up with more and more ways to bridge the gaps and listen closely and work. And really, at this point, we're gonna work together. Lay down some of the rhetoric, lay down some of the walls, and really work together. Our students are much too important for, and these aren't challenges that like one group or one person or one team or one grade or one school is solving. Way more complex. Every single person, really working together on these pieces. We won't get the best ideas, and I'm committed to helping us get those best ideas that help.
Next item of business is subcommittee reports. And the first item, the first subcommittee is program subcommittee meeting of February 25th, 2025. And Chairperson Marlison will give the report.
Yes, so we met last night to go over changes to 3 policies. I'll go through them, and I believe the last one, Amy's gonna give a little presentation. So the first is policy JF related to intra-district school choice, so school choice within Gloucester. And it's in section 5.3. The change that is being proposed is to, this is for kindergarten only, for moving the timing for making decisions on entrance into a different school, a school outside your catchment area, in a little bit later in August. So the understanding is that it's previously was earlier in August, and we don't really have the information at this point, by that point, to know how many kids are actually coming into our kindergartens. So what was proposed was to move the decisions for entering kindergarten in intra-district school choice from between August 20th to the first day of school. We had a vibrant conversation about that, and expressed concern about families learning too late, about whether their child could get into the different school. But also, Ben and Amy explained to us that, because we don't know how many kids are coming into kindergarten, especially, we run the risk of over promising and having bigger class sizes, which happened at Plum Cove. So they are taking that one back, and they're going to come back with another proposal. But we are working on that later time frame for announcements of intra-district for kindergarten. Any questions on that one? No? Okay. The next policy we discussed was JFBB, which is inter-district school choice. So school choice from outside of Gloucester. This has been going on. We've been working on this for more than a year. DESE had reviewed our school choice policy, and we were not in alignment with DESE requirements. So that was the beginning of going through this. We looked at a number of different issues in this policy, both the timing of when we identify our openings, and then when we give, there has to be a lottery if there's more applications than spaces. DESE wants that lottery to happen before July 1st. We're just looking at when we decide the timing is. So that's one piece of this. Another issue is sibling language, which is an interesting piece of who is legally a sibling to get preferential admission into Gloucester Public Schools for inter-district school choice. So DESE has given a definition, and we had a discussion about how we can adjust the language to include foster and stepchildren in the same family. Then we also discussed sort of it's not exactly school choice, but it's sort of in the ballpark, the issue of if a family is moving out of the district at some point during the school year, what our policy is going to be on allowing students who want to stay in the district through the end of the year to stay. So it's not school choice, and it cannot be in school choice, and that's a confusion we've had before. But what do we want to make our policy for students who are asking to stay when their family has left to finish the school year? So Ben and Amy are going to come back to us with proposals on that, because we did want to come up with a way to have that in policy, so we aren't making individual decisions on that. You guys have any questions? Yeah, Bill? Oh, yeah.
Sorry, did you say that, are we looking to allow students to finish out, if they move out of district, to finish out the year in Gloucester? Is that what you're saying?
If they want to, personally, if they want to. And secondly, we're looking at probably, again, this hasn't been decided, but we're looking at probably after January 1st, it depends on when they leave the district, right? If they move in September, that's one thing. If they move in March, that's another. So sort of putting some parameters on that in whatever ultimate policy we have. What were you going to say, Ben?
Yeah, sorry, just to add to that, first of all, this all has to go back to the
right.
not that full committee yet,
Yeah.
she's just giving an
Right.
update, so,
Yeah, yeah.
because we got work to do, is all I'm saying. But just,
Yeah.
just to answer, to address your question, Bill. The difficulty is, the state's very clear that you can't accept anyone into the school choice program, other than the regular process. And if you're allowing folks in the school choice program midway through the year, okay, without the lottery process, which we'll get into more, then you're circumventing that. Okay, and that's where we got into, that's why DESI reviewed us before. Because we made a decision that actually was against their regulations for families. And put them into school choice when they shouldn't have been, basically, okay, so that's what, I mean, and there's real value to let, especially like, I think seniors, for example, that's the most obvious example, letting students finish the year out, if it's closer to the end of the year. So, but we don't know yet what mechanism we can use for that. If it isn't school choice, it's perhaps something different, we just have to look into more, that one.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
School is quite.
And-
Yeah.
And both of these have gone back to, these just need more work. We're not, we didn't recommend. The third policy, which I'll just give a frame to, and Amy, are you planning to do the slideshow or, okay.
Yep.
So the third policy is policy AC, which is Title IX policy. So just a little bit of a frame. This is coming from the federal government. And basically, and Amy will explain, we had changed our policy AC in 2020 when that administration came in. Then we changed it again last year to be in compliance with the last administration. And now we're being asked to put it back. So we're not going to vote on it tonight. We have recommended this to the full committee and we'll vote on it at our next meeting, but Amy's going to give a presentation to explain sort of what's happening.
So I've handed out to you our two versions of the policy. The top one should say 2020 version at the top. And the next one should say current file. I'm just going to talk about some of those changes for a little bit. So we need to kind of take a little history lesson of the last 5 years. Back in 2020, there was amendments from the former now current administration. And said that new Title IX sexual harassment regulations went into effect on August 14th of 2020. The regulations imposed a prescriptive grievance process and created much more detail and resource-intensive investigation process. It took what used to be a single investigator model and created a multiple person or team Title IX model where there would be an investigator, a decision maker, and an appeals officer, 3 separate people. There was a higher standard for what constituted sexual harassment, and districts were required to adopt the Title IX grievance procedures to meet the requirements. Then in 2024, new Title IX regulations came out in April of 24, and districts were asked to implement the new regulations. We did that last fall in September. Feels like a long time ago. Lots happened. On September 11th, we voted that in. We were a district that was on top of it, and we made the changes in an appropriate manner. Those districts that did not make changes don't have to do anything now because they're still with the old regulations. So shame on us for being on top of it. But now in 2025, the end of January, we have been told to go back to the 2020 regulations. So that's why that's on top. It's not our current, it's our old and used to be our new. And I'm just gonna point out some of the changes, the differences, and what it means. So overview of the changes. The Title IX grievance process is narrowed back down to just sexual harassment. In 2024, it was a more broad, it included things like for gender and pregnancy related conditions. It was a bigger definition. It also included sexual discrimination based on all of this. Also, in Title IX now, sexual based harassment no longer includes, and this is what it went broader in 2024. It included sex stereotypes, sex characteristics, pregnancy pregnancy or related conditions, sexual orientation and gender identity. And the definition of hostile environment for sexual harassment was also more narrow. It's more narrow now, so they broadened it in 2024. In 2024, we went from the we went from the team model back to a one-person investigator model, that the Title IX coordinator would do the investigation and could make the decision, and appeals, it would all be in one person. We're now going back to the team model, where there will be an investigator, a separate person that is the decision maker, and then a separate person that's the appeals officer. This 2020 version now, 2025 version narrows the investigations back down to local authority, where in 2024, if things happened outside of school, outside of our state, outside of our country, as long as it impacted our school day, we were required to do a Title IX investigation. So this brings that more narrow focus back. The other key change is the definition of a hostile work environment. So in 2020, it was an unwelcome conduct determined by a reasonable person to be so severe and pervasive and objectively offensive that it effectively denies a person equal access to the recipient's education, employment, program, or activity. In 2025 is the exact same definition. The one in the middle, 2024, is unwelcomed sexual-based contact that, based on the totality of the circumstances, is subjectively and objectively offensive and is so severe and pervasive that it limits or denies a person's ability to participate in or benefit from a recipient's education, program, or activity. So it's going back to the more narrow definition. It takes subjectivity out of it. What does that mean for our district? Well, we need to redo our policy. That's why we're here tonight, to introduce that. Our procedures will go back to the procedures of the 2020 regulations. Our notices and handbooks will be updated, the website will be updated, and training will occur. So this past August at our leadership retreat, we had training on the new 2024 regulations. We'll probably do that again this summer, and just to make sure we're clear, because it has been a moving target, and make sure everybody's on the same page.
And why can't we do this tonight?
You could, I think you could.
It is a change in policy, it's not a new policy. Does that mean it can?
You could
I
just,
just waive the rules of the meetings.
Um,
And that's the will of the committee, not anything other than that.
you'll need one reading because it is, a check
They
condition.
change. And go back to what we had.
It's going back to the policy of 2020
Yeah.
that we had until
Reinstated.
the beginning of September this year, this school year.
That's my vote.
Yeah, so we don't have to, right.
We already vetted it 4 years ago. Unless there's concerns from the administration, other than what you can have a concern about. They take subjective out, but they also put 3 different people involved, so. One washes the other.
There are regulations that are handed to us.
Right, that's ultimately what, is obviously in many ways a political football for lots of different reasons that I don't need to comment on, but nor should I. But it is also federal law, regulation, and
Yeah.
We need to abide by it. So.
Just do it.
Well, the other thing is, we're not limited, I mean, we have to include this, but we could add our own take, like additional things, not remove things, but add. If there's more consideration of that, then maybe we should continue to discuss it, but if this is how it's gonna be, we don't need to add anything, say like, additional, is there any thoughts on like something that might be missing from this that we would wanna add? Anybody?
I think we vetted it so good in the past. That we don't,
We don't have anything to add or to
Right.
recommend on that, and if we
Right.
did.
This is it.
anything, wants to review it very seriously.
Yeah. That's why I'm like, we're gonna vote on it today, this is how it's gonna be, if not, then we should discuss further if we wanna make any addition.
I think
I think it's pretty clear because they stripped back a lot of this.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't fit the narrative in the new administration. This was kosher according to the old and now new administration, 2020 version. We can't start, if we plug anything else into this, it's gonna go back to legal counsel and I don't.
Yeah, no, we're not. We're not doing that.
Well, it's our school policy, that is adhering to federal policy. But it doesn't mean that our school couldn't add additional policies.
Okay, it's gonna fall under Title IX, but I don't.
Well, it's
very
under,
Title IX is a law.
under non-discrimination and harassment, not Title IX. It's not our policy. Our policy includes Title IX, is what I'm saying.
I just think that.
So do we want to
weren't
vote
here.
tonight?
You vetted this in 2020, but they did.
Laura wants to say
Yeah, sorry.
something too. That's okay.
So I think, I'm not in the room, but it feels like we should just decide if we're gonna vote on this tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I make a motion. Can I make a motion from here?
Yes, you can, Laura.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we accept the amendments to policy AC Title IX as previously discussed.
Seconded. Further discussion? Okay, roll call vote, please, Stephanie.
Mayor Verga.
Yes.
Mr. McKee.
Yes.
Ms. Prince.
Yes.
Mr. Melvin.
Yes.
Mr. Minio.
Yes.
Chair Clancy.
Yes.
Ms. Weason.
Yes.
There you go.
Oh,
Okay.
Thanks,
Um,
everybody.
Thank you, Laura.
thanks, Laura.
Okay, next subcommittee report is building and finance meeting, right before this meeting today, by Eric Prince.
Thank you. So usually we don't give reports right after meetings, but we're doing it tonight because we have some timely action to take the motion that was brought up regarding preschool. So I'm going to be a little bit more detailed in preschool. Presentation. So Andrea Perla, a wonderful advocate and worker at the preschool, came for us tonight to discuss enrollment and the fees of preschool. So currently in our preschool, we have 116 children. 52 of them are a special education enrollment. 54 of them are peer enrollment. Out of those 54, students receiving free tuition is 13. Students receiving reduced tuition is 3. And we have 7 students of staff members that receive a reduced tuition because they're the children of our staff. Currently, the prices are $240 per month for a half day, either Monday through Thursday, 8:30 a.m. to 11, or a half day second, Monday through Thursday, 12 p.m. to 2:30. The fuller day is meaning a more fuller day, not fuller as in school. $480 per month. That is a Monday through Friday program, 8:30 to 12, 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Then there's a fuller day hybrid, which is currently $386 per month, which is integrated Monday through Thursday, 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. And then on Friday, there's a special education portion only. And then there's a pilot program, which is $680 per month, which meets Monday through Thursday, 8:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. and on Friday, 8:30 to 12:30. When we talked about the budget, and it's approximately a $2 million budget between salaries and ordinary expenses and contracted services, but not enough to meet the demands of the program. So we talked about the increasing costs. We have an incoming population that is more intensive and requires additional supports. A lot of challenges coming in over the next year. There's a greater demand for special education and related services due to those children coming in. And there's an expected increase in expenses of approximately 4.7% in the increased salaries that we recently negotiated. We talked about bringing more staff to speech pathologists so that they can meet the needs of 3 sessions of 30 minutes per day with lots of nonverbal children that will be attending the program next year. So with all that being said, it seems like a lot, but the proposed changes are $20 more per month than what we currently charge, with no change to the version of pilot program, which was at $680 per month. meeting the number of people are voting on Friday. So with that being said, there was a motion by Kathy Clancy and seconded by Bill to recommend to the full committee to increase the charges per month, to add an additional $20 for the first three programs that I gave you, and then a 10% discount for siblings. And I will note that we have 4 sets of twins coming to the program, so that will be a benefit to those families right away. So the motion is to increase by $20 per month for these programs and the 10% discount for new siblings. And I so moved.
Second.
Okay, and to clarify, this is effective for
Next year.
school year.
Next. Yeah. Then I just put on the screen here from the presentation, you see what the new tuition will be per month, and also per year. As Nancy said, this is increase of $20 per month, so it was $240 per month for the half day, $480 per month for the 4 day. Really 6 for the half day AM session. But you can see the lowest one here, the one that has the most time, we call double dip, which is, we've been piloting for 2 years, we'll know how much.
Laura, question.
Yeah, I just a question about tuition. Are there people who can apply for assistance with tuition, or is this the
Yeah.
tuition people pay?
What you see
Oh, I
now
see.
is,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay, so this wouldn't exclude people for whom this would be prohibitive.
Right, and then you have reduced tuition or free tuition, so they're different
Okay.
depending on the family's needs.
Okay,
Ability to pay.
great. That answers my question. Thank you.
I think we were really competitive against other programs.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, that's what.
Other
Yeah, we're
districts.
kind of in the middle,
Yeah,
if not
just the-
less than some other surrounding districts.
I'm gonna show you quickly, I mean, this is sort of comparable public school districts. This is just comparing the half day, which is the easiest one to compare, because they're most consistent in terms of time, per day. And you can see that, and these are, ones we're able to find, which are either DART or local districts, these are DART district rather. And so you can see just where we stand with them, and it's sort of middle to lower end of it. So, and that's the new cost, the increased tuition. And then another one, this is just in terms of locally, these are private preschools, a little harder to make the comparisons here because just there are different lengths of time, different lengths that cross these are typically on the right hand side, full year, all year round programs. But so we just tried to do it per month. And you see that we're also very, very competitive on this as well. We're looking at, one example here, this is for our half day for the whole year, 10 months is what One Place Woodland does for 1 month. Okay, for a half day program. So the private preschool, a much wider variety of offerings than we do in terms of time, flexibility, but they're also typically more expensive. Oh, yes, I mean, yeah, Woodland's per month, the same rate we are per year. So, that's interesting.
Next day thing is.
Using a neutral word.
All right, so it's been moved and seconded. Any more discussion? Okay, seeing none, can I have a roll call vote, please?
Mayor Verga.
Yes.
Mr. McKeon.
Yes.
Ms. Prince.
Yes.
Mr. Lineman.
Yes.
Mr. Minio.
Yes.
Chair Clancy.
Yes.
Ms. Mason.
Yes.
Okay.
Then we went on to talk our regular conversation about out of district transportation and tuition. As a reminder, we have a $7 million budget. We talked about transportation costs. And we still have 2 students waiting to be placed in services. With that being said, knowing that Our budget was. 5,500,000. We are at a point where we approved our budget at 6 million. For tuition, we are in budget right now by $330,684. We have some anticipated growth with 2 students waiting to be placed. We do still have our special education contingency in the amount of 400,000. And as it appears today, if this was the end of the year, we would have $388,316 left in the budget after use of that contingency fund that we have on our side. We talked about out of district transportation, which our budget is looking better in that area. Again, just want to remind you that we do have 2 students that need to be placed, and those costs were not projected in the transportation. But looking at the overall budget with transportation costs, we are at the top, we have 900,000 at the end of the year. But just to remind you, it is February. We asked questions about where we were last year, and we had many surprises after February of last year. So, well, it looks good right now. Fingers crossed that it looks that way in June. But we anticipate that to change. So we talked a lot about circuit breaker money and how we usually have more money than what we have to carry over. That's always going to be a concern of ours. We're trying to build that back up. And that's a conversation we'll have when we develop the budget going forward. We talked about Chapter 70 state aid. Looking at next year, the state set a $75 per student increase of approximately 225,000. Gloucester received approximately $12 million. Will receive $12 million approximately. We did have a decrease of 55 students. That is about a 2% change in state aid over what we received. The average for districts is to receive approximately 6% increase, but Gloucester, because of our the diversity that we have in Gloucester, it's only 2% increase for us next year. We talked about capital planning. We have a lot of projects. There is a list. If anyone would like to see it, a lot of projects that need to be completed. Some are in process. Some look forward to 2026 and even 27. But it was good to see that this was an active conversation about doing some work done around our schools that is much needed work. We had budget transfers that I believe we approved in the consent agenda coming forward. There was 3 or 4 of them. And that's the end of my report for today.
As a reminder, we're still committed to creating the stabilization account in the amount of 750,000.
We talked about that.
How we based on free cash, I can tell you free cash is going to be significantly committed to it. As soon as it's in and certified, we'll go to council. I don't remember if we got a vote to create the account. We can vote to create the account.
Because we'll be asking for it. Thank you.
Okay, move on to other action. We have some grants to accept. There's a lot of letters. I move that we accept the fiscal year 2025 FC 74 IDEA IUP grant in the amount of $20. Second.
So this is a grant that's going to use for professional development to particularly help our teachers better target the needs of our students.
Moved and seconded, roll call vote.
Could I make a request that we get the explanations for all of them, then just do one vote?
Right.
Okay. So you want,
So if we
I'll
just go-
read them all.
Yeah.
Some
Get explanations if needed.
Okay, you want to just,
No, if needed.
if needed, okay. I move that we accept the Massachusetts Cultural Council Gloucester High School Theater Creative Projects for Schools grant in the amount of $5,000.
I think you need to do them.
So do them all.
Yeah, I think you need to,
You want that one?
One motion.
Okay. Okay.
following grants.
And
Moving all of them, but just
I
make what
move we
they have.
accept the following grants. Gloucester Education Foundation, Plum Cove Plate Grant, in the amount of $2,500. Gloucester Education Foundation, East Veterans Elementary Plate Grant in the amount of $2,500. Gloucester Education Foundation, O'Malley Printmaking with Mary Rhinelander Grant in the amount of $1,557.65. The Gloucester Education Foundation, O'Malley Academy Grant in the amount of $12,500. Gloucester Education Foundation Elementary and Middle School Bands Grant in the amount of $13,500. The fiscal year 2025 Massachusetts CDC Climate Critical Workforce Training Strand A Grant in the amount of $275,996.
Get information on that one.
I said,
I have
okay. So it's been moved and seconded, and now we'll ask questions.
All right, so the last time I was here, that was on there and I was a little hesitant to explain why, because it was on the one prior. And so we did a little research, and so when you voted on it 2 meetings ago, it was for the amount of $275,966. So it was off by $30. And that was because when all of the grant finally came through, it ended up with a $30 higher amount. That's why it was on the vote last time. This time, it is on the vote because the money is coming in to 2 strands. Gary, you're gonna bail me out if I get this wrong, but there's a strand A and then there's a second strand and an ARPA. And so we didn't vote it into the right bucket for City Hall, have it in the right place. So this vote is for $275,996, and it is to go into the ARPA. Oh, you voted for it to go into the ARPA fund, and it should go into which fund, Gary? This is Strand A.
Strand A.
Yeah, so it's where the money is landing.
Is that on our budget or the city's budget?
It is our budget, correct?
Our budget.
Yes. So it got put in the wrong bucket last time. This
Sounds
is correct.
Fun, accounting thing.
It's a complete accounting thing that happened twice.
Yeah, and remind me, this is
No,
for
I don't think I'm
infrastructure
here.
or what was it for? I forgot.
This is for the
For this
CBT.
What's it doing?
It's computers and simulators for the EV
Yeah.
auto
For the auto
shop,
shop.
the freshman auto
Oh,
shop.
Okay, so
It's, you voted the extra $30 in last time, and this is just putting it in the right place.
okay,
Third time's a charm.
so
I hope so.
my question is, do we need to rescind those votes? Otherwise, we're accepting this grant 3 times. So maybe I
Unless you
should.
say
Make
you're
a motion
accepting
accept as
it in the
modified.
amount.
So maybe you accept the first 7 separately, do
Yeah.
this one on its own,
To say the
and
correct.
say this is to correct the funding.
right.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
7 sounds good. Good approach.
Normally it was already approved, so you're adding $30 to it,
We did that last time.
Put it in a
so
different
you're
spot.
taking it away.
We're just putting it in a
No,
different spot.
Putting it in
Different
different.
We can do a motion to say we're correcting the amount of the
Yeah.
grant we're accepting.
Yeah,
But I would do that separate than the other
Right.
thing. Yeah.
1 through 7, we should address.
Okay, all right, so let's talk about 1 through 7. Anybody have any questions? Pretty straightforward. Okay, roll call vote, please.
Mayor Verda.
Yes.
Mr. McKee.
Yes.
Ms. Prince.
Yeah.
Mr. Melvin.
Yes.
Mr. Minio.
Yes.
Chair Clancy.
Yes.
Ms. Vincent.
Jim.
Yes,
Thank
Okay.
you, Laura.
I
Okay,
couldn't hear you. Sorry.
okay, all those have been accepted. I move that we amend the acceptance of fiscal year 2025 Mass CEC Climate Critical Workforce Training Grant to reflect what's going into Grade A, with the correct amount of $275,996 $996.
Second,
Verda,
yes.
Mr. McKee.
Yes.
Ms. Prince.
Yes.
Mr. Melvin.
Yes.
Mr. Minio.
Yes.
Chair Clancy.
Yes.
Ms. Weason.
Yes.
So, we have another item of, action here, but we are going into executive session first. And we will come out, to that, what is appropriate.
This is because I had to recuse myself for that action item. That was the nurse's contract. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I can step off for a couple of minutes.
No, we have to
Discuss it, okay.
Yeah.
So you'll take it up at the end of executive session?
Yes,
So
absolutely,
I won't be returning when we go to open session.
You will not.
Because
because you will have left during executive.
because my wife's a member of the MNA and I have a conflict of interest.
Okay, so I move that we enter executive session. Pursuant to executive session purpose 3 of Mass General Law 30A, section 21A, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining with Massachusetts Nurses Association, acting for Unit A and Unit C, Foster Association of Education and Support and Care.
Mayor Verda.
Yes.
Mr. McKee.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Melvin.
Yes.
Mr. Minio.
Yes.
Chair Clancy.
Yes.
Ms. Weason.
Yes.
All right, good night, everyone.
Last time.
Does she have a Google? I'm pointing to Laura. Does she have a Google link?
Oh, I can get it.